Hello and welcome to Geek First. This is our weekly-ish Fallout review series. We are on season 2, episode 5. I'm your host, Dylan Muss, and my usual co-host here of Travis. Unfortunately, over these last 4 episodes, he's built up a lot of radiation poisoning from all this Fallout, and so he's sick right now. So he's with the doctor. He'll be back next week. But in his place, I have the cold fusion man himself, Taylor Field. How's it going?
It's going good. Happy to be here. And, I'm just to add some more backstory here. So Travis, he was gonna message and initially when I dropped in the Discord, like, oh, I caught up. I binged all the episodes in one night, and he didn't. He didn't though. And so today, he was coy about it, and I call him out because he's like, oh, did you want to join, for the episode, the review? And I was like, oh, I was thinking about it because yeah, I did get all caught up and stuff like that. And so he was indirectly kind of trying to find like, hey, do you want to cover me tonight? Because I've got plans with family and whatnot. So
No, his radiation poisoning.
yes, sorry, yeah, of course he's
His whole
radiated.
family
Yeah,
has radiation poisoning.
yeah.
No, it worked out well because me and Travis were doing the review last week, and you were hanging out in the YouTube chat. You were dropping some stuff, and so I was like, oh, I guess Taylor's watching this show. But yeah, so it's good that you have been watching it because now you can join us here on the episode. I'll do some plugs later, but we can get right into it. But how about we just get a little recap from you from like the first half of the season, episodes 1 through 4, and then I guess you can segue that if you want into episode 5. How are you feeling about season 2 of the show? Also, did you do a rewatch of any kind of the first season, or you just do the recap thing that they have?
I'm in the days of recaps now.
Yeah.
I wish I could do the whole rewatch, but I'm this season. I'm much more hot on this season than I am the first
Okay,
season.
nice.
Really, really am. I think that everything's kind of moving at a better pace than I like, and I think I dropped this either. No, I dropped it in the Discord. Yeah, just there's one, two, I think up to four, or maybe even five different narratives that are going forward right now,
Yeah,
and
this season
I like
especially.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that, and I'm just kind of curious at what point they're going to kind of come together. And I feel like this episode really gave at least one of those narratives a prime kind of like trajectory into okay, this is going to tie in with these other narratives, these two narratives going on. So I like that, and so
Hmm.
things are kind of coming together a little bit more, which makes sense because it's episode 5. There's 8 in total, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so 3 more. Yeah. That being said, I really like where we've been going and how things have kind of gone. When I was looking back at how things kind of concluded in that first season, I don't know how hot I really was at the time, but I did enjoy it for the most part. But I like how a few things got squashed early on in this season 2, and now we're just kind of really running with it. And there's a lot of things that, well, I'm not an active Fallout player, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. There are
Hmm.
things that happen in the show, and I think, okay, that I can clearly take away as something from the game. Like in this episode, not a spoiler. Like, oh, I gotta craft something. I'm like, that's just. I mean, maybe the GA doesn't
Yeah.
pick up on something like that, but like I can appreciate that.
We get a
It
little
fits
stealth
within.
sequence too. Yeah, yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
show is
Mm-hmm.
very video gamey, which I appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Like that stealth sequence, like Sunny's, I'll just say, immediately I was just thinking, man, Elder Scrolls. I'm sneaking into a guy's shop, kind of a thing. Like I was really enjoying that. That made me smile. So yeah, I think where we're at right now is a good place, and yeah, I'm really really enjoying it. Also, big shout outs to the use of the practical effects because they
Yeah.
just do a fantastic job. And I was watching a clip with the Deathclaw. So they have one guy on each arm, so 2 guys there, a guy remote controlling the jaw,
Oh.
another guy controlling the head, and I'm pretty sure another one controlling the tail. So you've got like up to 5 people
Wow.
controlling one of these death claws. And so once they get all the practical effects sorted out, then they give it to Industrial Light and Magic to handle all like the CGI smoothness of it and everything. But I just think
Right.
that's so cool. We need more of that in the industry.
So I guess they do that for like the close shots then, right? And
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
wide
that's right.
shots are fully CGI still, or maybe there is like a puppet on set or something. Then they like make
The
it move.
puppet
I guess.
the puppet for the most part is like the head and then the arms and then back toward like the tail, but everything legs and stuff, and that's all CGI.
Very cool. Yeah, that's you don't see that these days very often. So
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
Amazon money. Yeah. So episode 5 specifically. Where are you at with this one? You like this episode?
Really, really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was great. 'Cause episode 4 had that peak of a cliffhanger, like, oh shit, what's
Yeah.
gonna go down? And so this one, I don't know anything about New Vegas. I don't know if this has any reference to it or where it kind of fits with its connection to the game, but it's just really cool to kind of be active in another area here that's not in. I think the season one was Philly. Is that where they were?
Yeah, I can't even remember. I feel like it was pretty nondescript. Like I
Yeah,
feel like we didn't get a lot of like specific city references, or at least like specific game city references. Because it
yeah.
wasn't where three or four are.
So I quite enjoy seeing just another above ground cityscape kind of set up in this post apocalyptic kind of world. I think it's really fun and just how they got things kind of set up here. And I mean the death claws are just in one area and that's just the way it is. They're just everyone's just doing their own thing and yeah, I liked it. It's just it felt expansive and we got a little bit more backstory on I don't want to say because it's spoiler. I'm trying to be elusive for the opening part here, but the brother's narrative. There's some
Yep.
expanse going on there with his story, and
Yeah,
then
really every narrative except for the like original Vault Dweller people. We didn't really see like the update of how 33 and 32 are going this episode. I think every other
that's
storyline got
right.
pushed forward in some way, right?
Yeah, that's right. Which I'm not a super big fan of just the 32, 33
That's definitely
stuff.
the least interesting stuff this season for sure.
Yeah, it just kind of feels just you know, way out there.
Yeah,
But
ever since Norm like pieced out from that grouping, it's like okay, I don't really care much for this branching path that we're following
yeah,
now.
yeah. Everything else though with uh McLean, that
Mhm.
storyline, and the daughter, and then obviously Ghoul Cowboy, Goggins' character.
Yep.
I'm eating all that up. There's something with movies and shows where you get that right pairing of two characters, and there's something there, and I'm a big sucker for that kind of thing. And so
Mhm.
sure enough, the show has landed it, and that's probably what season one was kind of missing for me because it didn't really have that kind of the two team up thing. For this season though, I love it, and I think it ends on a really interesting twist. And when you get to the end, I'm very curious to see how that's going to transition into the next couple of episodes. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, we also didn't get any update from Maximus because we saw him run away from
Oh, that's right.
the
Yeah.
Civil War situation last episode. There's a scene in this episode that cuts to like a guy in the background like walking down a road, and I thought that was going to be him, but then it turns out being some other completely random guy that we'll talk about later. But yeah, I guess this episode I guess did feel more. It's weird. I am somewhat critical of the editing in this episode, but also I do feel like we pushed a lot of our main storylines quite a lot more than we normally do in a week, just because once again we kind of cut out two storylines completely from this week's runtime, I guess. So it's all focused on this other stuff that I'm personally more invested in as well. But there's just certain editing things that because there's so many storylines, two characters interact, and for the first time you're like, "Oh, this is going to be an interesting situation." They talk for like 30 seconds. Someone says something really big cliffhanger, and then it just like cuts it right there. And then like maybe you don't go back to it till next week, or maybe 2 weeks, or in some storylines it's been maybe like 3 or 4 weeks since we've had an update. And so I feel like it's just harder for me to get that investment when I'm just, kind of getting edged over and over again, for the
Hmm.
lack of a better term there. So there was a couple moments like that that bothered me in this episode. And also, as you mentioned, the Death Claw sequence, which was the cliffhanger last week, me and Travis were really hyping that up. We probably overhyped it. Where we're like, man, next week's episode, it could be a huge one long episode Death Claw battle, like a one shot. I don't think we said that, but like it could just be
Surprise.
some huge like $17 million episode. And it's pretty underwhelming in my opinion. There's still a couple good moments in it, but it's not a whole lot going on there. I feel like we're maybe set up to actually go back there potentially and do some more later on. But yeah, there's a couple things like that. But I think there's some really good drama between like our two main characters and what's going on with them. And so I think that some of that stuff's good. And yeah, I guess in a light spoiler way, like Mr. House, we're seeing him again. We haven't seen him since like episode 2 maybe, or maybe there's a glimpse in 3 or something. So it's been a bit since we've got an update on that storyline, and so I'm glad that we got back there, and we actually got like quite a decent amount of time with him in this episode. Of course, all flashback sequences, so all that is pretty good. So yeah, anything else non-spoilery, or do you want to get into the juice here?
No, I think you landed it all. Let's juice it.
Okay, let's just go right into the juice. We'll do our ad break later on in the episode. Yeah, let's start with that Death Claw sequence. I don't know. I'm just gonna ask you in a very vague way to see if you're picking up what I'm putting down. That Deathclaw sequence, did it remind you of a particular big epic motion picture?
A big
Your answer
epic
could be
motion
no.
picture?
Yeah.
Uh,
Sounds like a no.
no.
Sounds like a no. Okay, for me, and I'm just pilled on this movie. That's why. But the cliffhanger from last week is that the Deathclaw busts through the door. Lucy and Howard are looking up at the Deathclaw, and then in this episode, it's revealed that that Deathclaw is hanging out there. But then like another one pops out from stage left, another one pops out from stage right, and to me, it reminded me a lot of the Peter Jackson King Kong sequence when like one T-Rex comes out and then like midway through the battle or whatever, I forget the exact framing because I haven't watched the movie in a little bit. Then like another T-Rex comes out and then like I think it's the third T-Rex comes out and King Kong's like getting them to chomp on each other and he's like throwing them off cliffs and all that great stuff, which great sequence. I love that movie. But it kind of reminded me of that, even though we don't get that level of epic battle between all these characters and like this huge choreographed battle between like all these kaiju or anything. But I don't know why. It just reminded me of that. I guess because T-Rex and Deathclaw are kind of similar-ish,
There's
sort
some
of, maybe.
similarities.
They got claws. They got scales. They got big chompers. So I guess there's that similarity there. But yeah, how did you feel about that sequence? Were you overhyping it like me and Travis were, or were you pretty satisfied with like the kind of, albeit quick, sequence that we got?
I would have loved the fight. Oh man,
Yeah.
that would have just been so juicy. And when you see multiple Deathclaw popping up, I'm eating it up. I'm starting to get freaked out for my own safety. But after the intensity that they showed that Deathclaw in a few episodes ago when he was overseas fighting, or maybe that was last week's episode in that flashback, because yeah, I intervened when you guys were talking about
When
it.
he was in Alaska, that sequence?
Yeah, in Alaska. So when he encounters it, and it's just like, okay,
Which they
this
confirmed
thing-
that this week, by the way. They did like actually comment on that in the flashback that he was in Alaska.
They did,
so,
yeah. Yeah, and so that was just, it was terrifying. And I've never faced one in the game, but I know that those things are like the oh shit. And so when this thing is just tearing up these communists and the Americans all alike, it's like, holy shit, okay, this thing's crazy. So I was expecting something a little bit bigger, but I guess it just kind of leads to something that's going to happen. I think we're going to be dealing with these Deathclaws eventually, because I think that's where the entrance to the vault is.
Yeah, I think
correct?
so,
Yeah,
too.
so that's what we're going to be kind of diving in. They're going to use their budget for that big fight whenever that kind of goes down there.
Yeah, I guess
But-
like something like that could be a big final episode action set piece. And obviously, like for the fans of the games, the Deathclaw is like kind of that ultimate creature. I like too. They had a little reference to like they're like, oh yeah, these Deathclaws came from Quarry Rock. I forget the exact name of the place, but in Fallout New Vegas, like the first time you'll see a Deathclaw is at this place called Quarry Rock, whatever the exact name is. But yeah, it's like this quarry. It's pretty close to the starting town, and the idea is that like if you're trying to just gun it straight to New Vegas, that's like the most direct route. But then you go that way, and there's Deathclaws, and you're like, okay, fuck it, I'm not gonna go that way. I'm gonna go like the long way
Right.
around, and then you bumble into like a ton of side quests on the way there. So I like that was a nice reference to the game. I like that. And yeah, I mean, you calling out the practical effects of it, I think the Deathclaw stuff all looks good. It was just a little quick. The one thing that seemed goofy to me is at one point they're going through their bag. Lucy's still like trying to find drugs mid-battle. She can't even like get her mind straight, just like I gotta get out of this dangerous situation. At one point, Howard has a grenade, and he puts it in a bag, throws the bag, and then shoots the bag to blow up the grenade. I'm like, why don't you just throw the grenade and it blows up, and then it has like the same effect, and then you don't have to
Sorry,
be like
say
a
that
sniper.
order again. He pulled the pin for the grenade and threw it in the bag and threw it,
I
or
don't
he
think
just threw the
because he
grenade.
shot at the bag, which makes me think that he shot the grenade to activate it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it wasn't a grenade that could like blow up. Maybe it was just I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was like a dud. Maybe it had like a false fuse or something like that. So he
Yeah,
had to
there must
shoot
have
it.
been maybe other explosive pieces in
Like-
there that weren't grenades. Maybe
I
don't
read it
know.
as like he was trying to delay it a bit. Like he didn't want it to blow up right then and there. He wanted to blow up like 10 seconds later or something. But it just seemed like a little silly. But I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking that. And then yeah, they kind of just pretty quickly evade this thing and peace out. But like you said, I do think we are gonna go back there. And I guess the question is, what is that gonna be like? Are they gonna stock up on Fat Man, like the equivalent of the RPG, like all these big things, bunch of mines, more grenades, Molotovs, and then go at it? Like, is it going to be Lucy and Howard? Who knows? How these characters, if they're going to reconcile before they go down there. Or I guess she's probably, I don't even know. I guess we can talk about that later on, what's going to happen with Lucy. and Howard. They both end in a pretty precarious situation here. But yeah, the Deathclaw sequence, it was all right. I wanted a bit more, but I do think we will get a little bit more. But also, I kind of thought that about Kaisar's Legion. I don't know if we're getting that at this point, so we'll have to just wait and see what happens here. They gotta spread that budget around, I suppose.
For sure. I will say one last thing with Deathclaws. It definitely, I like your call out of the dinosaurs for King Kong. It definitely felt like Velociraptors, Jurassic World kind of esque when they were just kind of sneaking around there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and then as I mentioned last week, I was pretty disappointed that New Vegas was, deserted at this point. There's no one there. It's kind of all destroyed. It is inhabited by Deathclaws, but I still wanted to see people. I wanted to have that lively energy, and so I like that we can just. They literally just walked past one door to get into Freeside, and like we can see that metal door that's like blocking them off. And yeah, there is still a bunch of people there. There's like a society, so that was fun. I like to see that, and I can't remember like if Sunny's is an actual shop in the game. It could be, it could not be. I'm not sure. It's been a bit since I've been to Freeside in my Fallout New Vegas playing, but I really like that. I like that we're back at this place. Of course, there's all sorts of weird people there. Guy, asking for caps. You just beat him up. Like that's his transaction. Beat me up. You get free caps. We have a shop and like a little side quest classics. This is a very Fallout New Vegas kind of side quest where you go into a shop, something's not right. Turns out the shopkeeper is dead, and like some guy actually kind of invaded the shop, took over the shop, and so Lucy's trying to steal from him. And then someone else pops in, and then we don't really see a resolution with that. I guess she just like left. It's kind of like a dramatic. The character's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, I don't know. And it was a little melodramatic for my liking, but she walked away with a power fist, which is again a very fun Fallout melee weapon. So overall, I thought that sequence was decent. But yeah, that was her first, I guess, kill on a regular human being.
Yeah, but I justify it. It was self-defense, right? The guy clearly pulled and I think fired on her too, and she acted in self-defense. So she shouldn't feel as bad as she does. But
yeah, and I mean, I guess this also closes off the Lucy drug addict arc because she took the Addictol and now she's cleared out.
I love how fast that was. Just one like inhale and then that just got me. I was laughing. Addictol.
yeah, very very classic Fallout stuff. Let's see, where do we want to go next? Do you want to stay with the Lucy Howard stuff, or do you want to jump around?
We can stick with the Lucy Howard stuff, yeah, because it's like we learn, okay, he's got a deal with Hank. He's going to be switching gears here and returning Lucy back to her vault in order to keep his family safe. I wanted to say that maybe this was bullshit and he was just kind of doing some fandangling here, right? But it seems like, no, that's genuinely what he was going to do to keep his family safe, which I feel like it kind of goes against his character, right?
How so?
I don't feel like he's someone that kind of adheres. I feel like he definitely is someone who honors a deal, but I don't feel like he's someone who would have his hand forced this hard. I feel like, okay, he would make some kind of a plan, some kind of a play that would lure out Hank or do something to kind of compromise.
I guess maybe it's just because the stakes are so high, right? Like it's his wife and daughter, and this is the thing he's been searching for however many years it's been, right?
Which is, again, a shame that he gave up his identity to give that advantage to Hank, right? At the end of that first season, how he just kind of revealed himself and all his cards. That kind of, that backfires,
true. I guess it kind of does go back to that. But, yeah, I mean, I think it was surprising that he betrayed her. But, I think that, to me, that kind of like fits for the character, and I think she had like a very proper response to that, which was like a big plot twist surprise, because it didn't feel like he was dragging her along this whole time just for this moment, but in hindsight you can kind of piece it all together, or at least from her perspective you can kind of piece it together that way and be like, damn, like he actually was. And I mean, it's not like even a few days ago he was still like heckling her and stuff. It's still like they're not like best buds or anything. They're just like companions which don't always agree on things, especially in like a Fallout game where characters are often commenting on like your choices in the side quest or a main mission, and they're like, I don't like what you just did, or oh yeah, kill that guy. Everyone's always sharing their point of view, and so they very much feel like they were clashing kind of the whole time. But he did have that moment earlier where he saved her from Kaisar's Legion, so I guess to her that was probably like a big build of trust. And so I don't know, maybe she needed to do that for him a couple times before he had that level of trust, but I think it just comes down to the stakes of the situation. I feel like for him, it was just such a big deal. Finding his family, probably particularly his daughter, I would say. I mean, obviously his wife. There's a lot of baggage going on with that relationship, but yeah, that's what he's been searching for. So I think it makes sense, and obviously a lot of this episode also kind of tied up in, I suppose, like the depression he's experienced and how he just uses alcohol to kind of cover up all the just shittiness of his life, and he was doing that even, I guess, pretty much post the reveal in season 1. Flashback time era when he learned about what his wife was up to, and that was really devastating to him as well. And learning about this plan, learning that like the plan was to have the nukes go off like on his daughter's birthday is obviously like really dark as well and just really disgusting. So yeah, we got to see a little bit of the darker side of Howard, which for him is really just bottom of the bottle kind of stuff.
Yeah, and he was riding that bull something fierce. He was doing a good job.
That's true. He was riding that bull.
When he was drinking in that scene, he was just kind of stumbling around. There's one scene I want a gif of it because the white guy goes to cheers him his drink and like he just grabs it out of the guy's hand out at the bar, which made me laugh. But there's a scene where this blonde-haired woman is like, oh, like, can I have a kiss with you, da 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 da, and it's like a quick scene where you see her and then it transitions on, and I for some reason thought, okay, that chick looks very much like the new one-eyed chick who's taken over Vault 33.
Oh, I think I missed that, but I mean, we do know at this point that she was a cryo person, so I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, from Canada. So she's... Yeah,
Steph is the name of that character, by the way.
Steph, yeah. So like it would make sense, but again, there wasn't any other emphasis or anything added in that scene to kind of make you think that okay, this would be her. But it was a quick cut scene. You could see her face.
I missed it, so it must have been really quick.
Yeah. So
good call out though. How about we maybe take our first break here? I'm going to thank our wonderful Patreon producers: Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike T, GGLM69, Charlie Rendell, Lenny Kravitz, Cocktail Clay, John with No Age, and Sam Green. Thank you all so much for keeping the lights on in this post-apocalyptic timeline that we're in. Patreon, that is the best place to go if you like the content that we produce here, which there's a lot of it. If you like the quantity and quality that we produce, the Patreon, it's the best place to go if you want to support us. But also, we back it up by having just an insane amount of benefits on there. You get episodes early, ad-free, all sorts of exclusive things. Get to join us on After 9 and talk to us about your favorite shows, movies, games, random stuff that you want to share. You get to vote on all sorts of content that we make, such as a bunch of retros and bread and butters and things like this. We're gonna be making so much this year in particular, best year yet, which we always say, but we always do it. I think we always try to one up ourselves a little bit from year to year. You can also still jump into our fill out our satisfaction survey. Let us know how you feel like the podcast was last year. If you want to see things change, improved. More of this, less of that, be brutally honest, or just say, hey, you guys are doing great, keep it the same. That's nice to hear too. So whatever you want to do so. What do we got this week? I guess kind of somewhat Fallout E related is the Bone Temple. What is this series called? 28 Years Later, Bone Temple. We're doing a review for that, so check that out Thursday night. We just had 2 drafts. We had the movie draft as well as the game draft, which are both really fun episodes, as they always are. Check those out. And I think that's about all I'll do for now. We'll jump to a quick ad break, and we'll be right back with some more Fallout. Hello there. We are back. Okay, let's continue on with, well, I guess even in this episode, like, was it a surprise or a plot twist or anything for you to get the official reveal that Howard's wife and kid are actually still alive? We saw, like, their tube. I guess we didn't see, like, their face and them breathing and walking around, but we saw, like, a nameplate on a tube with their name, so it's kind of, it makes sense. This is a big thing that they've kind of been hinting at a little bit, but I also feel like Howard's story has kind of been... It's been there. That's been like in his head, but I don't feel like that's necessarily been like he's taken step 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to that point. So yeah, I don't know. Was that a surprise at all to you to actually get that confirmation that these characters are alive?
I was surprised, but I also felt like, okay, at this point, it does feel like this guy Hank's going around, he's pulling people out of cryo, and so when they get that reassurance and confirmation, like, hey, here they are, I thought, oh, that just means that they're probably being put on a show here for something that's not going to bode well, some kind of something negative. And sure enough, that's what it came out of it. Like, hey, they won't be touched if you make this deal. So I also was, when I was looking at the wife's cryo tube, I'm not sure if it was just because of how much ice there was covering the front of it, but I was like, and you really can't see into it. Like, it doesn't look like anyone's in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably just for, well, I guess just to keep us on edge, maybe. Don't show us the face, just show us a hint of it, maybe.
I was thinking, well, if they're not in there, maybe they're out and about in a vault, or they're doing something out, and they're not sleeping right now.
Yeah, I mean, the wife obviously is such an instrumental character in Vault Tech and like all the goings on, dropping the bombs, all this crazy stuff. So I could see her being a character who was woken up, but I don't know if she would want to do that without her daughter, because even though she's like kind of evil, you would assume she still like loves her daughter and wants her in her life. But I don't know. Maybe her goal is like, hey, I'm gonna go back into this world, make it better before I send my daughter out. I'm not sure. So I guess we could get some of those reveals. That's possible. That could come down the pipeline here. Yeah, and then I guess the way this sequence ends is that he turns on her. He hits her with like a trank dart, which is kind of set up by this random character who's going through the wasteland, who is in love with a robot, very Fallout kind of storyline there. Gets clubbed by McClane. And I think they did a really good job with the sequence where he's in like the Dune hand machine thing, and then we get the camera like zooms out to just show the window where so many times we've seen the heads explode and the blood splatter on that window. So the camera pulls out there. You get to right with the point's about to explode, and then you hear like a nice little happy click, and then it like zooms back in, and obviously the experiment finally worked. So I was about to be pissed if it was another head exploded. I'm like, okay, I feel like we've done this a few too many times, but they didn't. They worked. So that device, I guess this part's unclear, but it at least wipes your memory enough. It's very plot stuff where it's like, oh, you can still talk and walk, you can still do stuff, but you just don't remember what your life was before. He was very much like right on with that. I thought he was like in love with this robot and maybe he'd want to continue that, but no, he's ready to delete his life. And then is it mind control as well? Because obviously we kind of saw that with the rats. I couldn't really tell if he was mind controlling it or if this guy's just so naive because he had all his mind wiped that McClane was able to just like convince him, persuade him to go do this thing where he has this ploy, this trap with Howard and Lucy.
I don't think there's any convincing him if you don't put him to this machine. Like that's out the window.
I think that is a part of it, right? The mind control.
Yeah. So I guess losing memory of when you were a kid and everything up to like the year 2000. So that's just that's a side effect, I guess, of just the being like taken over and whatnot, so you're forgetting everything. Because I was just like, it felt like this was just something new that McClane was just trying to instill, where it's like, okay, I'm trying to finish up this technology where we're controlling people, but really like, okay, like there's this other kind of con here where you just forget everything about who you are and whatnot. But I was just, it felt like it was just something else that he was working on and working towards. And I guess in the greater aspect of things, like, okay, this chip will be used for something else entirely, right? Whatever that is, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I like seeing the sales guy back in here. He just, ever since that first season, he just kind of cracked me up, and him getting his little robot girlfriend and whatnot, and it's like calling the guy like, hey, you little like what did he say? Something pervert or people.
Yeah, he's like, go hide in the shrubs, or if you want to watch this.
Yeah. So that cracked me up.
Yeah, and then the ending of this sequence is that, of course, Howard actually shoots her with the trank, but she still has a little bit of fight left in her, uses the power fist to punch Howard out the window, and he lands on a pole and gets stabbed severe. I don't know if that's considered a stabbing, but he got skewered. I guess I'll put it that way. And then she finally passes out, and as she's like having that final moment before it kicks in, she sees her dad there. He's come to grab her. So, yeah, I guess predictions, what's going to happen to both these characters, because Howard's obviously not dead. He's a ghoul, so he'll bounce back from this. We have to assume he still wants to go in. I guess his primary motivation is still probably his family, but I also feel like he probably feels bad about Lucy's stuff, maybe, and that's why. And he's gonna go in there to find her as well? I assume it's gonna be both of those things, right? He's gonna have a hero moment where he's like, "Oh, I actually came to save you, but I also need to get my wife and daughter," something like that.
Yeah, some kind of little redemption narrative, I'm sure, would make the most sense because like I was almost thinking like, is it a hallucination that Lucy's having with Hank just appearing there? Because it doesn't
Oh,
seem like it's really real, and I feel like
could
okay,
be,
well
I suppose.
if if she does get taken by Hank, then what's the point for Howard to go and pursue it? Because it's like, well, they got the daughter and whatnot. That's the deal. Like that just means that my family will be safe. I can leave them behind. So something needs to pull him in there, and maybe it is the fact that Lucy just went popping off on him and knocking him out, and he's just like I don't know, regretting that decision out of sympathy or something like that. Because each, I won't say each episode, but a lot of these episodes are just kind of rebuilding his humanity a little bit more, to the point where he just had to get blackout drunk because he
Yeah.
couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and then also like, so is Lucy going into Vault-Tec, into like the Vault-Tec base, whatever, with McLean, or is he actually sending her back to the vault? I feel like he probably wouldn't do that because he'd assume she would just break out again and like do her stuff, unless he mind wipes her, which I guess would be maybe that's one of the things he wants to do with her, which would be fucked
I think
up.
yeah,
but
he's bringing her into his main vault for management there for sure.
yeah, I think so too. So Howard's on his own to take out these death claws and get in there. Do you think, or does he powwow with? Does he meet up with Maximus? That's probably what it is, right? He probably meets up with Maximus, and then Maximus and him. He's probably like, "Oh yeah, Lucy's alive. You got to help me save her." Under the guise of like, well, he does maybe want to save her, but mostly to like get into Vault-Tec. That's probably what happens, right?
That makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. Poor Lucy, man. The amount of times she has been knocked out and taken somewhere. Like we had Kaiser's Legion earlier this season. We had the I guess it's a little bit different, but like that experimental vault by Sandy Shores or whatever, with all the facial experiment, like all the people had like weird, growing. They only have one eye, or they have extra noses, all these things. She got down in there. Some weird stuff was happening. So yeah, she just had a really unlucky go of it. But I guess that's just kind of what followed as a game as well. You just find yourself in crazy scenarios one after another.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of the meme factor too in this world where it's the vault dweller that kind of gets picked on. Which again, they're just kind of daft, and we see that again with, I can't remember what her name is, but she's got her friend, and they're just in the Vault-Tec building. She's like, "This is my turf," and they just kind of scoff at the vault dwellers because you just know you're dealing with this kind of, I don't know, state of person.
Okay, what else? I guess, yeah, so Mr. House, or Robert House, we finally got more of him this week. Quite a lot of him and Howard in the before times at the Lucky 38, his casino there. Without the kind of the background of the New Vegas stuff, how are you feeling about Mr. House as a character, the kind of this plot line, I'll say, and about the stuff specifically in this episode too?
Is he actually a good guy? Because
Is he a good guy?
Is he a good guy?
No,
I feel
I
like
don't know.
no.
I don't
Okay,
think
because
so.
in this, where he's just preaching like, "Hey, I gotta stop the end of the world, and I gotta take down building up a missile defense system to stop everything, like all the nukes and whatnot." And it's like, okay, that seems like a good guy thing to do, but I just couldn't really gauge him and his character because earlier on he mind controls this guy to just kill his friends and whatnot, and so
Yeah.
I don't know about him. But I like the idea that he's using the scientific, mathematical, numerical equations to kind of predict the future. I'm curious to see where that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting angle because you don't get what's the word, flashbacks in the game. He is a character that's in and around the game, I'll say, without getting specific about how he's in the game. But yeah, like you don't see this version of him, so it's fun for me to get this because he is such an integral part of the story and lore of Fallout New Vegas specifically. And so it's been nice to finally get a little bit more of him here. He's, I don't know, I think a lot of the characters in this show are over the top, right? And I think for me that works with like goofy little characters who broke and are taking over Sunny's shop. It works for like that weird shopkeeper guy who is in love with the robot. But I don't know if it's working for me when like Mr. House is going all evil maniacal villain and he's like yelling at Howard who's like getting in the elevator. He's like, "Why are you here?" All this stuff. It just seemed a bit much for my liking in terms of just I guess the way. I guess just the way he decided to act in that situation, or whether he was directed to go that way, I'm not exactly sure. But I guess the performance just wasn't totally believable for me. And it kind of, like, I feel like there was a mysterious slash intimidating factor that he had in the other episodes that we've seen him in. And this time he just felt like a little too zany for me. So we'll see. And I guess there's interesting kind of Easter egg reference in this episode with him that I guess I won't spoil for like game purpose reasons, but it was cool to see his kind of headquarters there in the Lucky 38 and yeah, get some of that in Vegas pre-war because you don't see that in the game either, right? You never go back there. So yeah, I guess I'm feeling this was one of the storylines that I was a little bit lesser on in this episode. I am again still curious to see where it goes, but I don't know. I guess I've been waiting so many weeks to see this character again, and I didn't love what I got in this one.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess the last storyline we haven't really touched on is Norm, the brother and the crew that have broken out of cryogenics. They find a Vault-Tec, an empty, abandoned Vault-Tec building, different than the one that, what's his name is in, McClane is in. And this one has another shopkeeper from before. A shopkeeper from season 1, who I think is like probably in episode 2 or 3 or something like that. She's pretty early on. I remember she was like in the trailers and stuff like that. She has an encounter with Lucy in that season. I think Howard comes into town, shoots, kills a bunch of people, something like that. So I guess which is why I can't remember the exact reason, but I guess that's why she left that town that she was in. And she's holed up here in this Vault-Tec building with her girlfriend or wife or something like that. And they have a roach farm. This is just kind of their headquarters, head base. And yeah, they connect with Norm, and she has some what seems like innocuous comment about like, oh, another vault dweller. And then Norm's like, ooh, another vault dweller. Who could that be? And then the scene like cuts, and then we come back, and it's kind of insinuated that obviously she informed him that like, okay, well, yeah, I've met your sister Lucy, and she's probably dead, and he doesn't believe that. And then yeah, we get another sequence at the end, I guess, with when he's getting like choked out, right? That's the end of the episode, right?
That's the end, and it fooled me because I thought for sure, okay, his new lady friend's gonna come back with the bottle of alcohol, smash it on this guy's head, and save Norm, but. Yeah, it went kind of sideways because I thought he was going to actually kill the brother, but no, he didn't. He just incapacitated him, knocked him out. It's like, okay, so we're going to see where this kind of goes. But I like everything that girl was telling him. Like, hey, these people gave their lives to this, right? Like, they believe in it. And so if you tell them, like, you killed their boss, it's going to rock their world, right? They're going to be devastated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I like this sequence. I like what's going on with Norm, and it finally feels like, I mean, he has not had a lot of screen time, and that whole storyline is kind of lesser screen time of this season for the most part. We got a little bit early on, and so I like that. For me, it's felt very aimless as well, like just kind of meandering from place to place and not seeing it very often. You might go an episode without it, but finally it feels like, okay, we're actually at a convergence point. I don't know how close they are. Presumably they're still very far away from Vegas, right? Because that's like been a whole journey for Lucy, and also that shopkeeper from season 1 was also nowhere near Vegas, right? So I don't know, I don't know if this is like a by the end of the season they reconnect thing. This could still be a path we're on until season 3. Maybe that would be my prediction, because I feel like we have enough in these last 3 episodes of just Maximus reconnecting with Lucy. I don't know if we'll also do that with the brother, so maybe that's like a next season thing, which would be kind of crazy if we go that whole season without them interacting at all. If we do get a third season, which I forget if that's like officially confirmed.
I thought they officially announced it.
Yeah, I feel like they probably did. So I could see something like that happening. But again, as I talked about, I think last week with Travis on these episodes, like I feel like there's not a lot of care and attention given to like how long it takes to get from place to place. Like there's definitely some fast traveling going on, which again, a very video gamey is fine. But normally when you fast travel in the game, it's like, oh yeah, 3 days have passed. It just doesn't like change anything because it's a Bethesda game. But yeah, I like what we have going on here because at least it feels like, okay, we can foresee like a convergence point where we're going to be set up with Norm has some sort of clue of where Lucy went. I don't know how he'd really get that clue from the shopkeeper. Maybe she's just like, oh yeah, she went west. It's like, okay, well, you go west far enough, you end up in Vegas, I suppose. But yeah, there's at least something there. So I like to see some of that. And yeah, I still don't care much for like the rest of the crew here. The other people have broke out. Even like the girl that he's becoming friends with, and she gets like some emotional moments where she keeps welling up of like thinking about her. What was it, her cat or her dog? I forget what it was.
Yeah,
that,
Puppy. Was
yeah,
the
her
name
puppy
of the
from
cat.
the before times that's like no longer around all this stuff. So I don't know. I'm not too invested in these characters yet. I do like Norm, and I do want to. I wish the best for this poor guy, but yeah, it seems like it might be a bit before we actually see him like interact with other main characters. But he's becoming more rugged. I feel like week to week, which is nice to see. It's fun to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where it's going to continue on, because I'm starting to enjoy that narrative a little bit more than I am, at least with how things were going with the character in the first season.
Yeah, definitely. Anything that we have not covered here, Mr. Taylor Field?
No, I'm glad you mentioned earlier just the Maximus and Lucy stuff, because yeah, that's totally just went over my head that we didn't get them in this episode, and I'm curious when that's gonna kind of tie back in, because I feel like the whole Brotherhood of Steel, like that's some serious shit going on. Like their whole foundation just collapsed, right?
Yep.
So it would be nice to get a little bit more insight on that. And I feel like we're not. What's the name of that branch again? It was the one that wasn't invited to their meeting because they're so powerful. I feel like we're
where
not done
Kamal
with
came
them.
from,
Yeah,
the Commonwealth branch. Yeah.
yeah. I feel like we're not done with the Commonwealth. I feel like they're gonna come back and yeah, drop
Yeah,
the heavy.
I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Especially with Maximus leaving, like maybe they just go hunt him down again. But I just feel like we've done that before. So I don't really know what's going on there, and not really even in the games. Like Brotherhood of Steel is not that's not the quest I'm usually hunting down when I want to pick up a Fallout game. So it's not really my favorite realm anyway. But yeah,
Right.
anything else here, Mr. Field?
No, I don't think so.
Are you joining week to week now?
I think there's a high chance. Yeah.
Okay.
I will, cause yeah, what is it? Three more episodes.
Yep.
So when is the finale? When does that put us in?
I guess it's February 5th. That was a random shot in the dark. How close was I?
February 4th. You're pretty close.
Oh shit! Way to go! I'm not good
That's
with
what it
calendars, so
says.
that was sick.
You are now. Yeah, February 4th. So I don't know if I'm going to be around for that one because I think I've got some scheduling stuff going on.
Oh,
but
you're
I
not gonna
think
be around for the finale. Dang.
the other two, I like
Okay.
my chances of being present for them.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Okay, thank you everyone for listening. Of course, we have a Fallout Discord or a chat specifically in the Discord if people want to talk about the show. You can also just drop something in the YouTube comments. We'll see it. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.